Welcome to the Vue Sidebar tutorial. Using the Syncfusion Vue Sidebar component, you can place primary or secondary content alongside the main content, enhancing quick access and navigation. You can easily create a flexible, responsive container that collapses or expands based on interactions. In this video, you will learn how to add the Vue Sidebar component to a Vue application and explore some built-in features such as toggling, configuring the dock state, changing sidebar types, and integrating the sidebar with other components. Before proceeding, make sure you have installed the latest versions of Vue and Node.js. I will use Visual Studio Code as my editor and show the output in the Chrome browser. To create a project in Vue, open Visual Studio Code and type the command npm create vite@latest. I set my app name as my Vue app. Next, choose Vue as the framework and JavaScript as the variant. A Vue project is created. I navigate to the newly created Vue app and install the required dependencies using the command npm install. Now the application is configured with the default settings of a Vue project. To use the sidebar component, I type the command npm install at Syncfusion/ej2 Vue navigations --save to install the navigation package with its dependencies. Next, I must register the trial license key to use Syncfusion components. I open the main.js file and import the register license method from the Syncfusion ej2 base package. Using this method, I register the trial license key. For instructions on generating a trial key, refer to the link in this video's description. To add the sidebar component, I open the app Vue file and remove the default code. Next, I import the sidebar component from the Syncfusion Vue navigations package. Then, add a few division and span elements with a header and main content. Within this division element, I add the EJS sidebar tag with the width property. Next, add the division element as a child element with the class name sidebar content, and the content is sidebar content. To access the CSS styles, in the style tag, I import the material theme CSS references. To align the division elements, define the CSS styles, background, text, and font alignment. Let me run this example using the command npm run dev. You can see the web page with a header, main content, and a sidebar. By default, the sidebar is positioned on the left side of the page. To place it to the right, set the position property to right. Now the sidebar is on the right side of the main content. Notice that by default, the sidebar will not close when I click the document. To change this, set the close on document click property to true. See, when I click the document, the sidebar closes. You can also open and close the sidebar using a button. Next, I will show you how to add a menu button to control opening and closing the sidebar. First, I install the Syncfusion Vue buttons. I type the command npm install at Syncfusion/ej2 Vue buttons --save. Next, import the button component from the ej2 Vue buttons package. Add the span element with the inline style float left. Inside this element, add the EJS button tag with the class name custom button. To set a menu icon for the button component, add the icon CSS property and set the icons and eMenu classes to it. Additionally, change the position of the sidebar to the left. Within the style tag, I also need to import the material theme CSS reference for the button component. Then, to align the button, define the color, background, and border color CSS styles. The menu button has been added to the left corner of the page. Next, let me show you how to open and hide the sidebar using a button click. I add the click event with the appropriate callback method button click. Then define this method. And add a reference by adding ref attribute with the appropriate value to access the built-in methods of sidebar. Define a variable named sidebar and assign ref as null. To use this ref, import it from Vue package. Inside the button click method, enable or disable the sidebar object using toggle function. I remove close on document click property. Now, clicking the menu button closes the sidebar. To display it again, click the menu button. Next, I will show you how to replace the sidebar content with the ListView component. First, I install the Syncfusion Vue ListView component using the command npm install at syncfusion/ej2vuelists -- save. Import the ListView component from the ej2vuelists package. Now I am going to use the ListView component here, so I will add the existing Vue ListView code snippet. If you want to know more about the Vue ListView component, check out the video link shown in the card above. Since I am displaying the programming languages in the sidebar content, let me change the button content to language. In the style tag, import the material CSS reference for the Vue ListView component. And remove the padding top CSS style for the sidebar content. And modify the main content based on the programming language. You can see that the list is integrated into the sidebar, and the main content has been changed. Next, let's see how to change the main content based on the items on the list clicked. Add the select event with an appropriate callback method on select to the ListView component. Declare this method and include the code to change the inner HTML of the main content to the selected list items description. When I click the languages, the sidebar's description will change in the main content. By default, when a sidebar is collapsed, the ListView items are hidden. To partially display the list items, I add the enable dock property and set it to true. Then set the dock size to 72 pixels. When the sidebar is collapsed, the ListView items are now partially visible. By default, the sidebar expanding type is auto. The sidebar component's other expanding options are over, push, and slide. Now I remove the dock state properties to show the types clearly. For demonstration purpose, I set the type as over. Now you can see the sidebar floats over the main content. Let me summarize this video. I have shown you how to add the sidebar component to a Vue application. I also showed you how to use a few of its basic features. If you want to try out the example used in this video, download it from that GitHub link in this video's description. I have also shared a link in the description to learn about obtaining a free license key to use our Vue components through our community license if you are eligible. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like and subscribe to our channel.